You know what, though? He was touching upon momentum, and I would love to bring in Byron and Rob, because we are a little bit kind of in the dog days of the World Championships, but Summer really has brought the momentum. Byron?
Well, and, you know, people say, oh, how can you have momentum? Because it's an individual sport. You're just standing up there all by yourself in lane number 3 or whatever. But it is a very big fact that there is momentum at an international competition. We saw it so vividly in Rio de Janeiro when the first night Penny won a surprise silver medal in the 100 butterfly, and the relay won a medal, which it wasn't supposed to do. And all of a sudden, everybody said, hey, we can do this, we can do this. And all of a sudden, by I think it was day 6 or day 7, the 200 backstroke, when Hillary Caldwell won a medal, they interviewed her, and she said, well, medals are the new normal. and I was like, that's exactly what we're talking about, and that's what happened. Same thing again in 2021 in Tokyo. Your first day can really set you up well. This time, very interestingly for Canada, first day wasn't so great because Summer had a little bit of an off swim, but yet now the team has turned it around, and they're still getting to the podium. And it's a huge testament to the people there, the staff, the coaches, and everybody. When it doesn't go your way, you can still actually perform, and that's what they're doing.
I think what struck me about Summer McIntosh as well, and Devin mentioned that leadership, but she had that gold medal, celebrates with mom and dad, has this moment, and then we were watching it live. About a minute after this, she just kind of said to mom and dad, okay, I got to go because I got business. This is about business, and that's kind of getting to what Devin was saying. Don't get too high. Don't get too low, go about the business. And so then you don't believe your own press releases, and you don't get too discouraged when someone says something bad about you either, because you know who you are deep in here, and that's what we want all of our Canadian athletes to do. I want to quickly transition to an Australian named Kyle Chalmers, who I think you mentioned almost quit the sport a few years ago after winning gold in Rio, had never won despite all his exploits, a long course, 100-meter, which is the blue ribbon event for the Aussies for sure. At least they believe it is. They read that recently. And here he goes, middle of the pool. It just looked like it was anyone's race. It was Kyle Chalmers' race.
And it just powers. I mean, he's got brute power. He's built like a linebacker. I mean, he's a big, strong guy. As we've said, he comes from, his dad is a professional rugby player, and he was going to go down that road. And everybody likes him. I mean, that's the guy he is. He commands presence. And there aren't a lot of people that, walk into a room and that's the person you look at. I mean, he's the guy, and he's the guy on the end of the relay you want on the end of the relay. I mean, he's a leader by default, but he can then take that mantle and lead with it. I mean, King Kyle was a name that they were using for him, and I mean, he deserves it. He's an incredible athlete and a super guy.
One athlete who's going to have a lot to deal with in the next year is Leon Marchand from France. Already 3 individual gold medals here. He's got a shot at another one, maybe more. Who knows? I think only just one more, right? But he did have a shot at the 200 had he decided to go in the breaststroke, but it was just too much. And he just does what he's been doing so much. He manages this race perfectly. By the way, brilliant performance by the 2 British swimmers to get in on the medals. But how about Leon Marchand?
Well, I mean, Leon Marchand said, life can be full of great timing exploits. And you know what? This guy's coming around at exactly the right time. I've seen other people that peak halfway between Olympic Games, and then they're not quite at their peak when they get there. This guy's going to hit his peak right at the Olympic Games, and it's perfect. And a lot of people will say, hey, he's going to be the face of the Games. There's going to be so much pressure on him, especially we've mentioned before that, his mom and his dad both swam at the Olympics. His uncle swam at the Olympics. So everybody's expecting so much from this kid, but he's got a coach now. He's moved to Arizona. He's training with a coach who coached Michael Phelps. Well, you think there was somebody that had to deal with expectations? Michael Phelps had the whole entire world on his back when he was trying to go for 8 gold medals. So, I think he's in the right hands to be able to handle the pressure, because the pressure will be immense in Paris, because he will be the guy that they'll be looking for. And I think he'll be able to handle it because of where he is and the coach he's got and the management around him. And hopefully his parents and other people don't get in the way, and then he'll be able to proceed and do the job. He's a great swimmer. He'll be on the podium a lot of times, and I think the top of the podium in Paris.
One Canadian who's dealt well with pressure, brilliantly well with pressure, is Kylie Masse. You used to coach her. You know her very well. You've helped mold her into the athlete that she is now. Hasn't gotten on the podium yet, but what she did tonight in the 50 backstroke, best time of the year and what was a bit of a tumultuous year for her, and even better than the time she did last year when she won the world title and the Commonwealth title.
Well, and that's right. And as you can see in the screen here, she's the red suit just to the right of the two swimmers in the middle. And she was actually in the bronze medal spot, and she's just going to get out-touched at the very end for the bronze. Right now it looks like silver medal. She's just going to get out-touched at the very end. The girl 3 from the top is going to get her last arm, picked up the cadence just a little bit faster than Kylie. But again, faster time than she's done. And you're right, it's been a tumultuous year. She's made a change of venue. She's moved over to Spain to train. Couldn't get a visa, was actually kicked out of the country for a while. They have all these rules. And you know what? When I think she spent 6 months where she never spent more than 2 weeks in one city. And the problem with that is you don't get into a routine. Athletes need a routine. You need to know when you're training, when you're going to the pool, what you're doing. And she just never had that and got into that rhythm. What she's done now is set it up so that she's got a nice, good run to Paris. And all this is about setting it up for Paris. And the fact that she's faster than last year means that she's on the right track going forward. And I think that's great because she spent the last 8 years on the podium. I mean, that's pretty amazing consistency.
Medal machine, Masse, Kylie Masse for sure. She's still got one event left. Who knows? She usually doesn't get left off the podium. I'm not sure if she'll do it in the 200. Maybe she will, but she's got 12 months, Anastasia and Brittany, to prepare for the Olympic Games in Paris.
One of my old coaches always used to say, you know, the World Championships prior to an Olympic Games is just the first test. You're just sharpening your pencil for the big exam at the Olympics, and I really think that that's what Kylie Masse will do in 12 months' time. Britt, Canada has won 7 medals here, 3 from the pool. Summer McIntosh defends her World Championship 200 fly title in an amazing race. You get the final thoughts from day 5.
Day 5 final thoughts. I think my first one is the outside lanes. If you have a lane, you have a chance. And I think we learned that from our coaches back since you're a young kid, but anyone watching at home, if you qualify through to the final, don't let that deter you, because we saw podiums coming out of lane 1, lane 8, all over the place. Secondly, Australia is fast. Australia is very fast. They are swimming lights out, a world record on the women's side in that 4x2. Also seeing those Kyle Chalmers win the individual event as well, the 100 freestyle, but also looking ahead. I think I want to look ahead to the men's side. Josh Liendo returns to the pool tomorrow morning, or for us tonight, in the men's 100-meter butterfly. And that's a race we've been teasing throughout this competition to get to watch him in his premier event. It's going to be a big test because his freestyle wasn't quite where we want it to be. So can he turn that around, just like Summer has shown it's very possible, turn that around and swim the event that you're honestly the threat in. Like, he's ranked number 1 in the world right now.
Yeah, no, so much more racing to come. We're going to do this all again at 6:45 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. We're having a blast.